You're one bad tire away from getting stuck 40 miles up a fire road, and the guy who sold it to you already knows it. Look at this. A tire that already failed its own government safety test sells for about $100. The tire right next to it on the same shelf, the one 4 different truck makers trust enough to bolt on at the factory before the truck even ships, costs 3 times that. Here's the kicker. From 6 feet away, they look almost the same. Same tough tread, same tough words on the sidewall, same promise that it can go anywhere. Up close, one of them has never once been tested past a parking lot, and the other one's been proven on a real desert race for decades. I don't sell tires. Nobody's paying me to put a name on either list you're about to hear. A brand earns its spot today because it passed, or failed, the same 4 checks, not because it paid to skip them. 7 names to walk away from first, then 3 that actually earned the tread on their sidewall. Number 1, Ling Long. Think about a 2-track road 40 minutes from pavement, no bars on your phone, just you and whatever's holding the truck up off the dirt. You've been on that road. Everybody who's owned a truck for more than a year has. In 2020, federal regulators pulled 2,800 light truck tires sold under the Venezia Crusade name, built by Ling Long, off the market after the bottom of the sidewall was found to pull apart from the rest of the tire under load. That's not a slow leak you catch in your driveway. That's a failure at the exact spot furthest from help. The one moment an all-terrain tire has to survive. The tire failed the government's own test before a single customer ever bought one. Not bad luck. Built wrong from the start and sold anyway. Look at the price and the recall side by side. Ling Long's cheap lines, sold here through Ling Long Americas out of Ohio, still cost over $100 less than a proven all-terrain tire, and that gap is exactly what a failed safety test is worth to the company selling it to you. Ling Long still sells today under its own name and under other names that sound a lot tougher than Ling Long does, sitting on shelves in the same stores as everything else on this list. Keep that recall in your head, because the next name has almost the same story, just older and quieter. Number 2, Westlake. The company behind it, Hangzhou Zhongsa Rubber, was forced to pull light truck tires off the market back in 2007 over safety concerns, and complaints filed since then still report the tread peeling clean off the tire on SUV and pickup tires, the exact tires people use for all-terrain driving. Tread peeling off on the highway is bad enough. Tread peeling off 40 miles up a fire road, loaded with camping gear and a dog in the back seat, is a whole different kind of bad. A Westlake SL369 in a common truck size, sold at Walmart and most tire shops, runs you around $115 a tire. That's real money saved walking out of the shop, no question. But a Falken Wild Peak in that same size runs about $220, made by a company that's never had a tire pulled off the market for safety reasons. That $100 gap isn't really about rubber, and it isn't really about brand loyalty either. It's the price of a tire with a real record of coming apart, next to one that's never once made that kind of news. Real quick, before brand 3, here's a 4-step habit worth using every time you buy all-terrain tires, because it works on any tire wearing that name, not just the ones on this list. 1. Search the brand name next to the word recall right on the NHTSA website, not a forum post repeating something somebody heard secondhand. 2. Find the load range letter next to the size, the C, D, or E stamped on the sidewall, and match it to what your truck actually needs, not just what fits your budget this week. A tire built for cars looks the same on the shelf but tears apart on the exact gravel road the name promised it could handle. No recall needed to let you down, because it was never built to survive that road in the first place. 3. Ask for the treadwear warranty in writing, because a company that won't put a number on paper doesn't trust its own tire enough to back it up off-road, and neither should you. 4. Look for real puncture or wet grip test results from an outside source before you trust a 5-star average from someone who's owned the tire 3 weeks and never once left the pavement. 90 seconds, 4 checks, and you'll know more than the guy behind the counter wants you to before you ever load up the truck for a real trip. Run any tire through those 4 checks, and half the names on this list drop out before you even see the price tag. No test drive needed, no guessing. Number 3, Milestar. It's sold online and at plenty of small tire shops across the country. Marketed straight at the off-road crowd. Tough tread, tough name, built for the trail. Sounds right, looks right sitting on the shelf too. A Patagonia AT in a popular truck size runs around $160, which sounds like a fair middle price right up until you check what owners actually say about running it on rocky ground. It lets air out easy, well before the tread itself is anywhere close to worn down or the warranty miles are used up. You're paying trail money for a tire that can't survive the trail. That's the worst kind of cheap tire there is, the kind that isn't even honestly cheap once you add in the tow truck bill on top of a new set. Number 4. Chaoyang. It gets bought as the budget pick for a work truck nobody babies, usually somewhere between $70 and $100 a tire, cheap enough that nobody thinks twice before tossing it on. Owners and testers both say the same thing. The tread wears down fast, some drivers replacing sets after just 15 to 20,000 miles, less than half what a decent tire should give you. Plus the sidewalls failing and the rubber drying out and cracking well before its time. Rubber that dries out and cracks doesn't wait for a scheduled check to fail. It goes when it goes, usually with the truck loaded down and the tire under more strain than it's ever handled before. And because that cracking starts on the inside, you often can't see it coming just by looking at the tread before a trip. Number 5. Comforser. Sold through most of the big online tire stores and plenty of local shops too. Its CF3000 mud tire gets bought for exactly the rock-crawling, mud-bogging use its ads promise, and on dry pavement it really does look the part. People who've actually run it say the wet grip is bad, with the tire needing a lot more room to stop once the road turns slick, and that matters most on the drive to the trail, not on the trail itself. Owners running similar mud tires from the same broader tire family say they get 15 to 20,000 miles before the tire is badly worn, less than half what a name-brand mud tire gives you for not much more money. It's a tire built for one job, off-road grip, that quietly fails the other job, getting you there and back on the road in between. Number 6. Landsail. Its Range Blazer AT model runs about $130 to $170 a tire, depending on size. Still well under both Falken and BFGoodrich, and that gap is exactly why it shows up so often in cheap all-terrain talk online. People who've actually run them describe a stiff, rough ride along with genuinely bad wet grip, long stopping distances on both wet and dry pavement, and weak resistance to sliding on water. One reviewer put it plainly: bad wet grip, bad handling, across the board. An all-terrain tire has to do two jobs: hold the trail and hold the highway on the drive there and back. Landsail fails the second job badly enough to wreck the first, which kills the whole reason someone buys all-terrain tires instead of a normal highway tire in the first place. Now the 7th one, and this is the exception on the list. I'll be straight with you about why, because this channel doesn't work if I only tell you the parts that keep you watching. Number 7. Ohtsu. Here's the twist. Ohtsu is made by Sumitomo Rubber, the exact same company behind Falken, the brand you're about to hear real praise for in about a minute. And Ohtsu in a similar truck size usually costs 20 to 30% less than the matching Falken. Same parent company, real savings on paper. But sharing a parent company doesn't mean sharing the same quality control. Owners report more differences from tire to tire on Ohtsu than on its sister brand. Not one huge flaw, just a wider gap between a good set and a so-so one coming out of the same broader company. That's a real downside worth knowing, not a scare story to keep you watching one more segment before the ad break. If you're setting up a truck you drive easy, a weekend hauler, not a rig you're taking somewhere remote, and you go in knowing what to expect, that 20 to 30% savings might be a perfectly fine trade. What sets Ohtsu apart from the 6 names before it is that the risk here is uneven quality, not the kind of real failure that strands you somewhere 40 miles from help. And unlike everything else on the avoid list, Ohtsu is easy to find in the US through the same Sumitomo dealer network that sells Falken, so you're never more than a phone call from finding out if your size is in stock nearby. Number 8. Falken. The Wild Peak AT3W, and now the newer AT4W, keeps coming out on top as the value pick that beats tires that cost a lot more. Rated for real winter grip, not just a sticker on the box. In a popular truck size, it runs about $222 a tire, with a 55,000-mile warranty behind it. Compare that to Ohtsu's price you just heard, and you can see exactly what that extra 20 to 30% buys. Tires that stay the same from set to set, not just a bigger name. Independent testers keep picking the Wild Peak over pricier tires, because Falken built a tire that outperforms its price tag instead of coasting on a name it was handed. You're not paying for restraint here. You're paying for a company that decided its mid-price line still had to earn a real winter rating instead of going straight to the marketing photo like half the names before it did. And it's sold at every major tire shop in the country, so finding a set is never the hard part. Now the one that closes out everything before it, the one every serious truck owner already half knows without needing the pitch. Number 9, BFGoodrich. Picture the exact trucks that roll off the lot ready to run real terrain. A Ford Raptor, a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, both built for the trail before either one ever sees a dealership. The all-terrain Ohtsu is the factory tire on both, which means the companies that build trucks made to survive rough terrain looked at every option on the market and picked this one to bolt on before the truck ever left the plant. Nobody at BFGoodrich had to talk a single customer into that. Ford and Jeep did the talking for them by putting their own name and their own warranty on it first, before you ever walked into a showroom. It runs around $275 to $300 a tire in a common truck size, about the same as Falken, plus a little more. And that extra money buys a tread built off BFGoodrich's own Baja 1000 race program, made to fight off cuts, chips, and tears, under exactly the kind of beating a desert race gives a tire. This is the tire, the guy who's actually broken down 40 miles out already switched to, the one nobody has to talk him into twice. Line that up against Milestar, Chaoyang, Comforser, or Landsail, each one printing tough words on a sidewall that's never once been through a real test, and the gap stops being about price at all. It becomes about which company actually did the work before ever asking for your money. One more, a bonus pick, because this list wouldn't be honest without it. Number 10, Toyo. Most people file it under expensive and walk past it, and that misses what the name actually stands for. Toyo's Open Country AT3 delivers strong wet braking, tough construction that fights off chips and punctures, and a tread pattern that really shines once snow shows up, backed by a 65,000-mile warranty, one of the longest of any tire on this list. In that same popular truck size, it runs around $300 a tire, right in line with BFGoodrich, not above it, for a tire built by a company that's been solving the pavement-to-trail problem in Japan since 1945, with a plant in Georgia and full US sales through every major tire shop. Not a big company's hand-me-down, not a name borrowed off somebody else's work. A company that stands on its own, one that had to earn every inch of that name by itself, one test at a time, with no parent brand to fall back on if it failed. You know the 4 checks now. You know 7 names that don't deserve the benefit of the doubt no matter how tough the tread looks in a photo, and 3 that already proved it, right here in this country, before you ever clicked add to cart, before any salesman got the chance to point you anywhere. Every one of them, avoid or trust, sits on a shelf you can walk up to this weekend. This isn't some list of imports you'd have to hunt down. It's what's already sitting on the wall at your nearest tire shop, waiting for you to know the difference. Toyo is the pick when you want a tire that proves itself through 80 years of real work instead of a tread pattern that just looks tough in a photo.